Right. So today we are going deep on the Fall.
Yeah.
And specifically their 2008 record, Imperial Wax Solvent.
Oh, cool. Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah, and this is one of those deep dives that even if you think, the Fall, I think there's some stuff in here that's going to be new to people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even diehard fans. I think there's a lot of kind of interesting stuff that maybe people haven't heard about. So we're working with a lot of different sources on this one.
Yeah.
Reviews, liner notes, the works, even fan discussions online, just to give you the total picture.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess to start off, for anybody who's maybe not as familiar with the Fall, this is a band that put out a lot of music.
Yeah.
I mean, they were led by the one and only Marquis Smith, who's a fascinating figure in music, I mean, he sadly passed away in 2018, but he led the band for, I don't know how many years, but through like 30 studio albums or something crazy like that.
Yeah, prolific is an understatement with them.
Right.
And what's really interesting about Imperial Wax Solvent is this is actually the longest lasting lineup.
Oh, wow.
In the Fall's history. And so,
which, if anybody knows the Fall, that's insane.
Yeah. I mean, they were infamous for the revolving door of musicians. So to have that consistency kind of makes you wonder, like, how did that affect the sound and how did that affect?
Yeah, like, what did that even sound like?
Yeah.
For a band that had so much turnover for so long.
Exactly.
And, the critics kind of took notice of that, too. I mean, this was an album that when it came out, it got really, really good reviews from almost across the board.
Yeah. People really loved this record. And, a lot of people were saying this is one of their best. And a lot of critics and fans kind of point to that lineup.
Right.
The fact that it was so stable, it really kind of brought a different dimension to their music.
I mean, one reviewer went so far as to call this the most guttural Fall.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Which is saying something.
What does that even mean?
That's saying something, right? Because they were already pretty raw.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think what they mean by that is this deep, almost primal sound. It's raw, it's powerful, it's heavy, it's gritty, and it really kind of exemplifies this album perfectly. And you can really hear that in tracks like Alton Towers or Can Summer.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as those tracks kick in, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Or even like Senior Twilight Stock Replacer.
Oh, yeah.
Which, what a mouthful.
What a song title, right?
Song title.
And we actually managed to dig up some really interesting background on that song.
Okay.
From the bassist at the time, Dave Spur.
Yeah.
It's pure The Fall, like how this title came about.
Okay, so how did this happen? How do we get a song called Senior Twilight Stock Replacer?
All right, so Spur had this friend.
Okay.
And this friend, we'll just say, liked to embellish his job title a little.
Yeah.
Instead of saying he did something ordinary, this guy would come up with these elaborate titles.
Right.
And so one time he told Spur that he was a sub-aqua ceramics operative.
That's amazing.
I know, right?
So good.
So Spur, being a musician, tucks this little gem away for later, right?
Right.
Fast forward to writing and recording Imperial Wax Solvent, and bam!
It hits him.
He's like, that's it.
That's the song title.
Senior Twilight Stock Replacer.
I love that.
It's so The Fall, right?
It's so The Fall.
Like, they took something so mundane, twisted it around, added a layer of dark humor, and boom, you have this song title that's both intriguing and unsettling.
It's like they looked at a regular job description and said, how can we make this sound like it belongs in, like, a dystopian factory or something?
Exactly.
Yeah, and the music totally matches that vibe, too.
Oh, for sure. And it wasn't just, they didn't just pull these weird themes out of thin air.
Right.
Like, even where they recorded the album kind of plays into this whole vibe.
Yep.
Smurr said that they recorded Imperial Wax Solvent in a former brandy distillery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
that's a vibe.
It is, right?
I can only imagine, like, what...
Oh, yeah.
What that would do to the music.
I mean, I can practically smell it now. Just the oak and the booze lingering in the air and knowing Marquis Smith.
Right, like he probably loved that.
Oh, I bet he did. I bet he loved it.
Yeah.
Spur actually describes Smith as being like a mischievous little kid in the distillery, like just fascinated by the space.
I could see it.
Just wandering around those giant copper stills, soaking it all in.
And you have to wonder, like, did some of that, like, distillery magic... seep into the music?
Oh, totally.
I don't know.
It had to, right?
Yeah. And speaking of different, different flavors of the album or whatever.
Yeah.
I know that Cherry Red put out an expanded version of this.
They did. They put out a 3-CD reissue.
Okay.
As part of their Fall Sound Archive series, which is really cool.
Okay.
And this has a bunch of extra goodies on it, but the crown jewel is a full alternate version of the album.
What?
Recorded at Britannia Row Studios.
Britannia Row, as in like Pink Floyd Britannia Row?
That's the one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like, you have to listen to that
Oh, yeah.
to see how different it is.
For the fall fans, this is huge, right? Because you're hearing this lineup, this remarkably stable lineup, tackle the same material,
Right.
but in a completely different environment.
It's like an alternate reality
Yeah,
for this album.
it is.
It's like, what if instead of making it in like a spooky brandy distillery, they made it in like a,
in a proper studio.
a proper rock and roll studio?
Yeah.
And that's not all. Like, the reissue also has a live recording.
Of course it does.
Because why not?
Gotta have a live recording.
Yeah, the fall live albums are always
Oh, they're legendary.
a wild ride.
Oh, yeah. So much energy and
Yeah.
unpredictable moments.
Yeah, totally.
Like bottling lightning.
It really is. And speaking of unpredictable, we were poking around online
Yeah.
and we found this Reddit thread
Oh, no.
where people are like really going at it about which version of this album is better.
Let me guess, Reddit.
Yeah.
Strong opinions.
Lots of strong opinions and probably too much caffeine.
Probably.
But what were people saying? Like, is there a consensus?
There's not really a consensus.
Okay.
Some people swear by those Britannia Row recordings.
Yeah.
They're like, that's the one.
Okay.
It's got this rawness, this immediacy that the original just doesn't have.
Okay.
Other people are like, no, it's really cool to compare the two
Right.
and hear how the studio change impacted the overall feel.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fascinating.
It really makes you realize, like, how much, like, just being in a different room
Yeah.
changes how you hear things or how
Totally.
it's like how you remember something. And it depends on where you are
It's true.
when you remember it.
Context is everything. But this thread wasn't all like serious analysis.
Oh,
Like, one comment we saw was comparing Imperial Wax Solvent to the band Anderson Council.
Anderson Council.
Anderson Council.
Okay, now we're going in a completely different direction here.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's
Totally different vibe.
way more like indie pop, right?
Yeah. Much more lo-fi.
Lo-fi.
Like, totally different.
Interesting comparison.
It is interesting.
I don't know if I hear it.
And of course, somebody else chimed in and was like, no, that's like a punishable offense.
Yeah.
You can't compare those two.
Right.
That's just wrong.
I love it.
But it's so funny.
I love how passionate people get
I know.
about music.
They too.
But it just goes to show you, like, this album really,
It gets under your skin.
it does.
And that brings us to, why this deep dive even matters.
Right. Like, why are we even talking about this
Well,
album?
so Imperial Wax Solvent is more than just another album
Okay.
in the Fall's very long discography.
Yeah.
This is a statement.
Oh.
This is a band that's known for creative turmoil, for
Right.
constantly changing members.
Yeah.
And here they are embracing stability.
So, okay, but what does this all mean?
Right.
Like, for somebody listening to this right now,
Yeah.
why should they care?
Why does Imperial Wax Solvent even matter?
Yeah.
Especially if you're not like already a huge Fall fan.
Right.
I think what's so cool about this is you're hearing a band that's known for being kind of volatile,
Right?
embrace stability,
Yeah.
and think about how that changed their sound. It's
Yeah.
really noticeable. Like, you can almost like pinpoint the lineup change in their discography
Yeah.
just by how different it sounds.
It really makes you wonder, though, like,
Yeah.
what if they had stayed together
Oh, man.
for another album or two?
Yeah, what if this was like
Like, what if this wasn't just
a one-off?
of, like, a whole new phase?
Yeah.
What would that have sounded like?
Yeah, would they have kept going down this like heavy...
It's heavy guttural.
Or would Marky Smith have been like,
Yeah.
nah, I'm bored. Let's do something else.
Right.
Who knows?
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
But it's fun to think about.
It is fun to think about.
It really is.
It's like finding a rare flower
It's true.
blooming in the middle of like a concrete jungle.
Yes,
We're
exactly.
just like, how did that get there?
Exactly. How did this happen?
What's the story?
Why is this so good?
Yeah.
This is so weird, but so good.
Exactly.
And that's Imperial Wax Solvent.
That's Imperial Wax Solvent for you.
There you go. If you're looking for a place to start with the fall,
Check this one out.
maybe this is it.
It's a good one.
I don't know.
It's a trip.
It's a journey.
It is.
It's a weird album,
It's got everything you want from the fall.
but it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
And that is our deep dive
That's it.
into Imperial Wax Solvent.
Go check it out.
Listen to all the different versions. See what you think.
Tell us what you think.
Hit us up on social media.
Let us know.
We want to hear your hot takes.
Until next time.
Happy listening.